Okay, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I'm Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is a pre-fight show for UFC 221, Rockhold versus Romero for the UFC interim middleweight championship of the world. With a little snafu on this main event. It's a championship fight. It's a half championship fight because if Romero wins, he doesn't win the belt. If Rockhold wins, he wins the belt because Romero missed weight. I can't believe it. You would think that someone getting a title shot would make weight, but hopefully there's a good reason for him not making weight. But nonetheless, yeah, the fight goes on. And anyhow, yeah, this is, in my opinion, this is a pretty good card. I know there's other people debating this card, but I think this is a pretty good card. And yeah, this is a pre-fight rundown of the main card with my predictions, so let's get started. So, yeah, the main event is for the UFC Interim Middleweight Championship of the World. Again, if Rockhold wins, he wins the belt. If Romero wins, he gets a win on his record, but he doesn't win a belt. And I'm picking Luke Rockhold by unanimous decision. I think Rockhold wins 3 to 4 rounds, maybe even 5 rounds in this 5-round main event title fight. And so he will be your new UFC interim middleweight champion of the world. I think he keeps the fight standing. I think he uses great takedown defense, keep the fight standing, and stop Romero from the takedowns. And keeps a distance so Romero can't land those heavy right hands of his. And Rockhold gets it done by working the jab, working the leg kicks, creating angles for his good strikes, and en route to being the new UFC interim middleweight champion of the world. Then in the co-main event in the heavyweight division, we have Mark Hunt versus Curtis Blades. I went back and forth on this one, but I'm going with Curtis Blades, second round knockout. I think Curtis Blades is hungry. He's had a lot of big fights in his career. The only loss he's really had is the Francis Ngannou fight, and I think he's learned from that. And I think his speed and his good wrestling skills and decent grappling skills will get the job done here. If he doesn't take Mark Hunt down, he'll wear out Mark Hunt and land some good jabs on him and then finish him off. And then, yeah, so I got, Curtis Blades, round 2. Then, also in the heavyweight division, we have Tai Tuivasa versus Cyril Asker. Two veterans that definitely are talented fighters that the diehards know about, especially Tai Tuivasa. This fight is going to be a barn burner. Both have heavy hands, but I'm going to a Tai Tuivasa first round knockout. Then in the welterweight division, we have Jake Matthews versus Ling Jingliang. And both these guys, I believe, were tough veterans. Ling from Ultimate Fighter China, and then Jake Matthews from the Nations season. And Jake Matthews, I think, is hungry for a win here, and he gets it done by unanimous decision. Because I think Ling's fairly well-rounded, but Jake Matthews is just going to be hungry for that win, and he will get it done. Feed off that hometown Australia crowd, and get it done here by decision. I think welterweight's a better weight class for Jake than lightweight, and Jake's going to look decent here. I don't know if this will be a flashy showcase of his skills, but I think he'll squeak out a win here. If he gets a big finish, even better, but I don't see a big finish happening here. I think he mixes things up and gets a unanimous decision win here. Then, to kick off the main card in the light heavyweight division, we have Tyson Pedro versus Saperbek Safarov. And I am going with Tyson Pedro, first round knockout. I have high expectations for Tyson Pedro's career in the UFC. I think the guy is the real deal. And I think right now the diehards know about him, but I think pretty soon the casuals will know about him as well. So Yeah, this is, in my opinion, a pretty good, decent card. I mean, you got Damian Brown versus Dong Hyun Kim on the prelims. That's a good lightweight matchup. And then, of course, I gotta mention the bantamweight clash with Teruto Ishihara versus Jose Quinones. Uh, Met both those guys, great guys, both talented fighters, both guys that I think can have a career in the UFC. I mean, they've already had some matches in the UFC, but I think they're going to have more good fights to come in the UFC. So there you go. That wraps up my pre-fight show for UFC 221. And stay tuned in the coming time for my post-fight show of this card. See if I got it right. I'm pretty confident in most of my picks on this one, and so we'll see. Yeah, you got 12 fights on this card, and we'll see how well I do. And until then, I will see ya.